Welcome back, everybody. So today's going to be the day where we're going to be putting in the drive shaft and the C-beam and pretty much completing the 6-speed swap. Obviously, there's going to be a bunch of stuff I have to do afterwards, like the exhaust and the interior, stuff like that. I believe the slave cylinder. But these are the last major components that have to go in to complete everything. So we're going to be knocking out the U-joints of the old drive shaft using some old sockets and a big hammer. Something really easy to do. You can do it at your house with whatever you have. And I'm also going to probably refinish that, try to make that a little nicer, and the same thing with the C-beam. So pretty much when this stuff's coming off, trying to make it a little bit nicer as it's going back on the car. So we're gonna just jump into that and get that stuff prepped. This week's video is brought to you by Seatshafts.com, manufacturer of solid stainless steel seat motor drive shafts. Save money on costly seat repairs by replacing the weaker factory shaft with an upgraded, stronger one. Custom sizes available for all makes and models: BMW, Chevy, Dodge, GMC, Mazda, Mercedes, and many more. Visit the link in the description or go to Seatshafts.com. I'm going to start off by sanding my C-beam here. So I have my little sander and I got some 220 grit sandpaper, which I'm going to try. This has some sort of like thick sound deadening material or insulation here on the top. I peeled most of that off, but there's all like the glue residue on there. So I'm going to start off using that, sand this down and see what it does. So I got this thing all sanded, and I could have probably spent another like 2 hours sanding this thing, but I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna paint it silver. There's just a lot of little imperfections and stains and spots in this thing that I really can't get out and don't really wanna spend another 2 hours of my life sanding this stupid thing that you're not even gonna see. So I'm gonna just take the time now and just use a little bit of self-etching primer and some silver paint and knock this thing out. So I just wanna show you something real quick. So I ended up taping off here and both spots here, mainly because it's so tight here going on the diff and the trans that any paint in here is just going to get crushed away and probably start flaking back. But as you can see, if you look up close, there's just a lot of little spots and imperfections. So I just figured just painting it silver will make it look that much nicer. So I finished up painting it, and this is kind of like a before and after. That's the one that I took out of my car. So it looks a lot better. Okay, so if you've never removed one of these before, there are these little locking clips in here we're going to take out. There's one on either side. That comes right out like that. And essentially what we're going to be doing is I have a bigger socket here that goes around the diameter of the U-joint itself, like that. So I would put this side underneath here. And then I have another socket, an old socket, that fits right in here. And we're gonna bang this thing, you either press it or smack it with a hammer a couple times till you push the cap down out this way. And then you'll be able to take the U-joint out of it that way. All right, so I have it on the floor here. So I got a piece of 2x4 there holding it up and the big socket underneath. And now you just take your other socket like this, make sure it's lined up so the cap of the U-joint goes into the socket mouth itself. And then just go ahead and smack away. All right, now you can see the cap's hanging out, and then you can just pull that out or use a pair of pliers. So it is really tight in here, so I just use a little flathead to kind of push this off, and then you could slide that out. Like that, and now I'm going to bang this out of the yoke here. Right, now that both the U-joints are out, I'm going to clean up the drive shaft again before I put the new U-joints. I did end up getting Summit Racing's brand U-joint, and it's got a grease fitting in it too, which is nice. And I'm just going to sand this and probably paint this too so it matches the C-beam. Okay, so I got it taped off, got it sanded and cleaned. So I'm going to paint this silver, and then I'm just going to do the top of this part black since it's a little rusty and stuff. So I'm just going to prime it first and then paint it. Okay, so I got everything painted. Looks good. So now I'm going to get these U-joints installed. All right, so we're going to be installing this kind of like the reverse order that we took it out. So we're going to pop one of these caps off like that, and then come up in here like here. Get that in place like that. And then we're going to put this cap in here like this. Like that. And now just start tapping it down. All right, so I almost have it all the way in, but before I hit it down, you don't want to go too far the other way or you have to turn around and smack it back out. I'm gonna just go ahead and take this clip, sit it in place here, like that, and now I'll turn it back around and hit it just a couple more times till it's flush against the clip, and then put the other clip in. Okay, both U-joints are in, and now it's time for it finally to go back. All right, so I'm underneath the car with the C-beam. So I have this thing pushed all the way up on the transmission, and I'm going to just jack it up right now, just to get it up past, so I can slide it back on the diff. All right, so I have it level, so now I can just kind of slide it back, line the holes up, there, like that, and then run my bolts in. Alright, so I got the bolts in and tightened. Everything lined up pretty good. I ended up having to use a hammer a little bit just to kind of knock them up in there because it's pretty tight. But other than that, it went right in. Alright, now the last piece. Alright, so I got this all tightened up. I did have to jack it up, obviously, to get the wheels off the jack stands here, just so I could turn the drive shaft so I can get both sides of the U-joint. Alright, so that's a wrap for today's video. So the 6-speed swap itself is officially done at this point. Next week we're going to wrap some headers and get that stuff back on the car. So just one step closer. So if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. Thanks for watching.